these sections, the rest of the Bhagavatam becomes easy to follow. So that is my understanding. So here, previously, a few months back, Prabhuji has given me opportunity to speak on 15th chapter. We had two classes. We discussed up to 13th or 14th verse. We did not do complete thing. But today we'll try to do whole chapter in summarily. So I will try to recap what we discussed in the previous two classes also. And we try to conclude with the last 5 verses, which are the essence of this entire chapter. So we'll see that. So this chapter is titled as the Yoga of the Supreme Person or the Purushottam Yoga. And Lord Krishna himself speaks the 15 verses. There is no questions asked by Arjuna in this chapter. So at the end of the previous chapter, Lord Krishna mentioned that by practicing Bhakti Yoga, Ananya Bhakti, or wherein Lord Krishna says that Avyabhicharini Bhakti, Mamchayo Avyabhicharena Bhakti Yogana Sevate, Sagunan Samatityetan Brahmabhuyaya Kalapate. Having described the 3 modes of material nature, Lord also tells that the way to come out of the influence of 3 modes of material nature, that is by Bhakti Yoga. So that is elaborated in this chapter. The understanding is, we always talk about that the 3 modes are binding us, 3 modes are binding us. But what is the effect of 3 modes? The effect of 3 modes is this entire material universe. The material world is nothing but the transformation of 3 modes of material nature. So that is being described. The chapter starts with that. How this universe is the transformation of 3 modes, and what is the process by means one can overcome the influence of 3 modes of material nature. So that's how we will try to see till the end of the chapter. This is the main theme of this entire chapter. So Lord Krishna says, Urdhamula Madashakam Ashwattam Prahuravayam Chandam Syasya Parnani Yastam Vedasa Vedavit. At the very beginning of the creation, Mahavishnu, who was sleeping in Karna ocean, as Brahma Samhita says, as he exhales, or as we understand from Bhagavatam, when the creation is about to start, the Pradhana, Prakriti in its energy manifestation, the Gunibhuta Prakriti, appears from its various skin pores. So as it is consolidated in one place, Mahavishnu glances upon that. By his glance, he impregnates Pradhana or Prakriti with Kala Shakti and Jiva Shakti. So by their interaction, there appears 24 material elements. By their combination, there comes unlimited Brahmandas. Then Mahavishnu entering into each and every Brahmanda makes it alive, which was floating on the Karna ocean lifelessly. And then eventually he creates initially the ocean known as Garbhodaka ocean, then the ether and air, and eventually he creates universal form, which appears in a grass form at the lotus flower, within which Lord Brahma creates 14 planetary systems. And also using the same 24 elements, he creates unlimited bodily forms for a different variety of living entities. That's how the universe has been created. Now that universe is compared analogous to a Ashwatta Vriksha. Urdhamula Madashakam Ashwattam Prahuravayam. Among the 24 elements, the first born element was Mahatattva. Among all the living entities, among all the planetary systems, the first created one is Satyaloka, the abode of Lord Brahma. Among all the living entities, the first born living entity is Brahma. That Brahma, that Satyaloka, or that Mahatattva element is compared to the root of the tree. That is Urdhamulam, which is situated on the top of the universe. Adashakam, the rest of the 13 planetary systems are the branches. The rest of the elements are the branches. The rest of the living entities are the branches. Beneath Satyaloka, we have Janaloka, Tapaloka, Maharloka, Sargaloka, Bhuvarloka, Bhurloka, Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatal, Mahatal, Satal, Patal. All these remaining lokas are compared to the branches. All the people who are living in these lokas are compared to the branches. All the Rishis, sages, Devatas, Gandharvas, Apsaras, Kinnaras, Kimpurushas, human beings, and the Asuras, Daitya, Danavas, and Nagas, and also reptiles, animals, mammals, etc. Everything is compared to the other branches of the entire universe. They are situated beneath the tree. This is the upside down tree. Normally, tree root are below and the branches are above, but in this tree, the root is Satyaloka, which is located above the universe, and the rest of the branches are below. Urdhamulam Adashakam. Ashwattam Prahuravayam. For the common perception, for the understanding of the common people, this is Aveya, inexhaustible. Because this tree had the fruits in the form of Dharmartha Kama Moksha, for which people are dedicating their life. The life of the people in general, they are dedicating their life to gain Dharmartha Kama Moksha. and they are abundantly available in this universe, in this tree of samsara. That's why they call it as Ashwatha. But from the point of view of devotees, this is Ashwatha. Ashwa tishtati iti Ashwatha. That which does not stay till tomorrow is called Ashwatha. So for devotees, they see this universe as temporary and they always want to go out of this universe. And from the Vedas, which always glorifies the Dharmartha Kama, the karmic rituals, which actually give immediate and future satisfaction, are compared to the leaves of the tree. Chandamsi yasya parnani. A tree grows very abundantly when there are green leaves. We studied in our school that photosynthesis effect. Because it is the leaves which transform the sunlight and air and all the things into photosynthesis effect. So because of it, the tree grows, and tree becomes attractive to look at only when there are green leaves. If there are no green leaves, no one looks at the tree. So as long as the Dharmartha Kama are fulfilled, the universe becomes a place of enjoyment for the people in general. Because this universe is offering enjoyment, people always want to live here and continue to live in this world. But those who actually know that this enjoyment is binding and the detachment is liberating, those who understand the nature of the enjoyment, the nature of the liberation, they are the knowers of the Vedas. They are the knowers of the tree. Chandamsi yasya parnani yassam vedasa vedavid. And some more details about the tree. What are they? Adasya urdhvam prasuta tasya chaka guna pravruddha vishaya pravala adasya mulani anusantatani karmanu bandhini manushya loke. Adasya urdhvam prasuta tasya chaka. This tree has branches going upward and going downward. Well, branches are there above and below. Branches are there spread everywhere. Branches such as Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, Sargaloka, Borloka, Bhuloka. So there are branches everywhere in the entire universe. But there is a special distinction among all these branches are, at one place, there are secondary roots are sprouting. Till now it is Ashwatha Vriksha. Now Lord speaks it in the form of a banyan tree. There is one place called as Manushya Loka, the abode of human beings, which is known as Bharata Varsha. From there, there are secondary roots are sprouting. These roots, some of the roots are going upward. Urdhvam Gachanti Sattasva. Those who perform activities in the mode of goodness, they go upward. Bhuvarloka, Sargaloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, all the way up to Satyaloka. And Jaganna Gunavatishya Adho Gachanti Tamasa. Those who do sinful activities, they go downward in the form of lower species, in the form of lower planetary systems, or in the form of hellish planetary systems. And others, Madhya Tishtansi Rajasa. Those who are doing both pious and impious, they stay where they are. They continue where they are. So this is the nature of the tree. The upper place are meant for enjoyment, lower place are meant for suffering. In the middle, they can accrue karma. Manushya bandhini, karma nu bandhini, Manushya Loka. It is in Manushya Loka, they can accumulate new karma, because of which they can go up or down. This is the nature of the tree. But even though one may know that human planet and the human loka, Mrityu Loka, people perform karma, go up and down. But one cannot understand where it is ending, where it is, when it started, how it is going in the future, how it is spread everywhere. Narupa masseha tatopa labhyate nanto nachadi nachasampratishta ashwatthamenam suvirudo munam arang asanga shastrena drudna chetva. If you have happened to see a banyan tree with so many roots, if that is spread to a long distance in our district, which was originally called as Palamuru, in 4 acres area, there was one banyan tree, which expanded to area 4 acres with so many subroots. There was a prize money for those who identify the original root. They will get 1 lakh rupees of prize money. It was long back when I was my intermediate. That time I visited that. So because the subroots becomes they also look like main root, it is very difficult to understand which is the original root. That is the nature of banyan tree. It goes ahead. The karma also, it is very difficult to understand in this world. Where our existence started in this material, we cannot understand. And where we are going to go, we don't understand. When it is going to end also, we can't understand. Na rupa masseha tatopa narbhyate nanto nachadi rachitam pratishta. We cannot understand where it has begun, when it is going to end, where it is going, what is the form of this tree, like a banyan tree. So best thing, instead of wasting your energy in trying to understand the nature of this tree, cut down this useless tree. Because this tree is offering fruits in the form of Dharmartha Kama, which are actually binding. The intelligent person is supposed to cut down this tree from the very root. By what? With the weapon of discrimination, with the weapon of detachment. Only the person who has attachment to this tree performs the activity so that one can enjoy in this tree. But when the one develops detachment from this tree, uses the detachment as the weapon, then cut the root tree at the very root. When the main root is cut, there is no opportunity that second roots will come. The tree dies. So that is what is indicated here. Asanga shasrena drudena chitva. With determined consciousness, with the weapon of discrimination, cut down the tree from the very root. Then what to do? Don't put any endeavor to try to understand about this tree. Then Bhagavad Gita says, Tata param tat parimargitatam tavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya tameva chadyam purusham purana yata pravruti prasuta purani. Having cut this tree from the very root, give up the endeavor to understand the nature of this tree. Then go above the root, because this is upside down tree. Go above the root. For the normal tree, go below the root and try to understand about tat padam. Tata padam tat parimargitavyam. Try to understand tat padam by proper endeavor. Yasmin gatana na nivartanti bhuya. Having understood that, having attained that, one does not return. What is this tatpadam? The nature of tatpadam is tameva chadyam prasuta purani yata pravrittir prasuta purana. Tameva chadyam purusham purana. Purusham prapadde. Is Adi Purusha. This tatpadam is Adi Purusha, from whom this entire tree of Ashwatthar, tree of Banyan has manifested. From whom the 24 elements manifested. From whom the 14 planet systems are manifested. From whom all the living entities are manifested. From whom they manifested? Mahavishnu. Tat Padam refers to Mahavishnu. So, this Tat Padam is conceived by Jnanis as Brahman, because Jnanis say, Sarvam Kalau Idam Brahma. It is Brahman which is manifesting at the visible universe. And the yogis consider this Tat Padam as Paramatma. Because Mahavishnu is the Paramatma of Prakriti, his expansion Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma of one entire universe, his expansion Kshodakshaya Vishnu is the Paramatma of each and every individual living entity. All three of them are in a way Paramatma only. So that same Mahavishnu is considered by yogis as the Paramatma. And that same Mahavishnu is the Adi Purusha, considered by devotees as Bhagavan. Tat Padam is Brahman for Jnanis, Tat Padam is Paramatma for yogis, Tat Padam is Bhagavan for devotees. And Yasmin Gatana na nivartanti bhuya. Having gone to him, no one returns. So kindly make endeavor to understand him and get him. And if you see the universe upside down, the root is Satyaloka. If you go further, having crossing through the 7 layers of the universe, the place where you come is Mahavishnu, the abode of Mahavishnu. So in that way, that is where one need to search about, from whom the entire universe is manifested. So that is understanding. So who can go there? By what we can understand that somebody is qualified to go to Tat Padam? That is mentioned in the next verse. Nirmana moha jisasanga dosha adhyatma nitya vrindata kama sange dvande vimukta sukadukka sange gachanti amuda padamaviyam tat. That person who has no mana, nirmana, and that person who has no moha, nirmoha, that person who has no attachment to this material world, jitasanga dosha, that person is constantly contemplating upon Tat Padam, Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan, Adhyatma Nitya, and Vinvrutta Kama. That person is done with all the material endeavors to fulfill material desires. And that person is indifferent to the dualities offered by material nature. Dvande Mukta Sukadukka Samnyai. And that person who is not a foolish, but who knows the process of searching the root, who knows the process of going to the root. Amuda. Gachanti. That Amuda, what will he obtain? Gachanti. Tat Padam Aveyam. That person will obtain Tat Padam, which is Aveyam, which is eternal. But this tree is Ashwatha, which will not stay till tomorrow. But Tatpadam is Avyayam. So that person who has all these qualities can go back to this Tatpadam. Brahman, Paramatma or Bhagavan. So what is the nature of Tatpadam? What is the Tatpadam? We have some knowledge about this tree, banyan tree or Ashwatha tree, but we don't know anything about Tatpadam. So that is mentioned in the next verse. Natat bhashayate Surya, na Shashanko, na Pavaka, yet Taddama Paramamam. Here the Tatpadam is called as Taddama. So what is the nature of Taddama? Natat bhashayate Surya. There is no need of sunlight. Na Shashanko. There is no need of moonlight. Are the facilities offered by the moon. And na Pavaka. There is no need of Agni. No need of sun, no need of moon, no need of Agni. Why these three are mentioned? Because these three offer three properties: self-revealing, self-dependence, and self-sustaining. For everything that we do in this world, constantly we need the assistance of these three things: sun, moon, and fire. Without these three, we cannot do anything in this world. If we can't live even one day without these three. These three are very essential for all our activities that we do in this world. From sun we get, at least some example like sun we get daytime. All our activities begin with sunrise and with sunset. And even we may say that nowadays we are working day and night. But for us we need electricity, which is another form of sun, which is also giving us light and warmth. So without electricity we can't do anything even the night or daytime. And whatever anxiety or whatever what is that? Not anxiety exactly. Whatever tiredness we have got by working throughout the day will be relieved in the moonlight in the night. The nature of moon is cooling and soothing, which will give us the relief. And it is Agni which allows us to perform two activities. Agni indicates yajna, performance of yajna. Agni indicates cooking and digesting food. So about these two we will discuss a little later part of the Bhagavad Gita it comes. And then when these three are under control, our life is prosperous and peaceful. When these three go out of control, our life is filled with miseries. If there is too much sunlight, misery. If there is no sunlight, misery. If there is too much moonlight, misery. Winter. Moonlight means winter. If there is no moonlight, again misery. If there is too much fire, forest fire, burning. If there is no fire, constipation. So like this, there are so problems with these three. But in the spiritual world, there is no need of these three. There is no need of these three indicate there are no miseries associated with these three and there is no happiness associated with these three. So that is the nature of the Tat Padam. Here in Sanskrit, Padam indicates light, which is connected to Brahman. Padam indicates abode, which is connected to Vaikuntha. Padam indicates form, which is connected to Mahavishnu, Paramatma. So Tad Dama indicates both Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan aspects. So then one may ask question, why you are asking me so much about this Padam? I am happy here. Let me stay here, na? Why should I go there? So then Lord Krishna says, Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manasastan Indriyani Prakrutistani Karshati. So now let us take only the first line. Mama Eva Amsha Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Even Jiva Loka also remove. So because Jiva Bhuta, all the living entities that are living in this material universe, which is compared to Ashwatha tree, are all my Amsha. They are all my Amsha. They are all my children. They are all supposed to stay with me because they are Sanatana. This Ashwatha Vrukta is a temporary place, a temporary manifestation. A Sanatana Jiva cannot live happily in a temporary manifestation. A Sanatana Jiva can live in eternal happiness in eternal abode of mine. So Jiva is supposed to stay with me in my abode. That's why I am telling all these things. So make an endeavor to come to me. That is a intellectual endeavor. So let us stop here before going further. So we'll take some references from Sutapa Prabhu's acronyms. He has given one acronym to each and every chapter. So for the 15th chapter, he has given the acronym HOME, home. So the first 6.5 verses talks about the alphabet H. H stands for home or hotel. The understanding is we need to understand what is hotel and what is home. In this section, Lord Krishna is talking about the material universe comparing to a banyan tree and describing about the spiritual world, talking it as Tatpadam or Taddama. So among these two, we need to select which is home, which is hotel. So whichever is home, we are supposed to stay in hotel, home, not in hotel. Hotel is not our permanent residence. It is only a place for overnight stay. So that is the understanding. So Lord is indicating that spiritual abode is the home, the material universe is hotel-like residential quarters only. So one do not make this as a permanent place. It is a temporary manifestation. Try to come home. Come to Tatpadam. This is about H. And then those who do not go back home, as long as they live in this hotel, what is their condition? That is O. On and on, moving from one species to other species. The cycle of transmigration. That is explained in the next 5 verses. Mamai Vamsho Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. So Jiva Bhuta Sanatana, while that Jiva Bhuta is staying in this Jiva Loka, in this material universe, what happens to it? Manasashtanandriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. Having taken shelter of the 6 senses, the 5 Jnanendriyas in the mind, the Jiva goes from one species to other species. How does the Jiva goes from one species to other species? Why does the Jiva go from one species to other species? Is explained in the next verses. So it is mentioned here that Shariram yadavapnoti yachapi uttakamatishvarada gruitvaitani samyati vayur gandha nivashayat. Just like wind, while it is moving from one place to other place, it carries the fragrance of one place to another place. Similarly, the soul giving up the body, taking up the impressions, moves to the different body. Shariram yadavapnoti echapi utkramatishvara. Having given up this current body in which one is living, taking the impressions which one has acquired in this particular body, moves to the next body. Just like a wind moving upon a garden, it takes the fragrance of the garden. It does not take the garden. It leaves behind the garden, takes the fragrance, goes to a new, different place and gives that fragrance to everyone, whoever is there in the new place, something like that. So how does that transmigration happens? Shrotram Chakshu Sparshanam cha Rasanam Granam evacha Adhishtaya Manaschayam Vishayan Upasevate. How does the Jiva, the Atma, goes to a different body? Having given up this gross body, accepting the impressions which are stored in the subtle body, consisting of 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Pranas, 4 Antakaranas. The subtle body consists of 5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Pranas, 4 Antakaranas. All these 19 items plus Atma, they all move to the next body. They are like the fragrance which is emitted by the garden. So then, etanto, not this. Utkramantam sitam vapi bunjanamba gunanvitam vimuda nanu pasyanti jnana chaksha. Though a person is moving from one body, entering into a new body, staying there and trying to enjoy, of course, in the previous verse it is mentioned that Vishayan Upasevate. For what reason the person goes from one body to other body? When the Jiva understands that this body is useless to enjoy anymore in this material world, gives up that body, enters into a new body so that he can enjoy more and more. Vishayan Upasevate. In order to experience the 5 tanmatras, 5 sense objects. So while doing this, one does not understand how does one is moving from one species to one body to other body, having entered into another body, how does one is enjoying the different sense objects? One does not understand. Yatanto yoginas chainam pashyanti atmani. Sorry. Vimuda nan pashyanti. A foolish person does not understand this, how this is happening. Pashyanti jnana chaksha. But one who knows the true nature of Atma understands this, how things are happening. So why Vimuda does not understand and Jnana Chakshu understands? Yatanto yoginas chainam pashyanti atmani avatistam yatantopi akritatmano nainam pashyantachesasa. The endeavoring yogi with purified heart can understand what is what, how things are happening. But a yogi, even though endeavoring but with impure heart, can never understand how things are happening. So that is indicated here. So now, though Jiva who is attached to this material world continuing from one species to other species, but while Jiva is living in this material world, it is the Supreme Lord who maintains whatever is required, who maintains that Jiva. That M indicates maintenance of the Jiva in 3 levels. Lord looks after the maintenance of the Jiva's gross body. The Supreme Lord looks after the maintenance of the Jiva's subtle body. The Supreme Lord looks after the maintenance of the Jiva himself. So these 3 aspects are explained all the way up to 15th verse. How does the Lord maintain the gross body? Is mentioned in 3 verses, 12, 13, 14. Yadaditya gatam tejo jagat bhashayate akilam yat chandramasi yachagno tat tejo vidhi mamakam. The light of the sun, the light of the moon, and the fire of Agni, they are all my vibhutis, by which I allow the maintenance of the gross body of all the living entities here in this world. During the daytime, under sunlight, people perform various activities for their current happiness and for their future happiness. And it is moon which is offering them relief once they become tired by executing so many activities. And it is fire which is allowing people to perform so many sacrifices which award them current happiness and future happiness. And it is fire which allows them to eat the food, allows them to cook the food and digest the food, which nourishes them so that they can perform activities and experience the current and future happiness. And then, what is the place for them to get happiness? Where they are able to perform all these activities and are able to perform more pious activities because of which they get more and more happiness currently and in the future? That is here, Manushya Loke. So how does the Lord facilitating them to perform all these activities in Manushya Loke? It is mentioned in the next verse. Gam avishasha bhutani daryami ahamojasa pushnami avashati sarve soma bhutva rasatmaka. By entering into the earth, the Bhumandala, I make the Bhumandala stable so that people can have the facilities to stay happily here and facilities to perform various activities such as yajna and other activities and facilities to nourish themselves. It is from earth we are able to construct our home, gardens and all the pleasure places. It is upon the earth we are able to grow various grains and foods, food products and fruits and grains, etc., flowers and fruits, etc. By using them, we are able to perform yajna on one side. By using them, we are able to sustain ourselves. We are able to nourish another side. So all these things are accomplished by earth and the moon. It is through moon only we get all the grains. Using them, we are able to perform yajna and also we are able to eat and digest. And how that happens? Aham vaishvanaro bhutva praranam dehamachta pachami prana pana samayukta pachami annam cheturvidam. So externally, the sun and moon and earth, they are allowing us to perform yajna. But internally, by becoming the digestive fire, the Lord is allowing us to digest the food which was created by sun and moon and earth. So that we are nourished, we'll be able to perform activities, we'll be able to be satisfied here and in the next life also by performing ritualistic ceremonies. Thus, the Lord is looking after our maintenance of our gross body in this world. So how does he maintain our satisfaction of our subtle body? Sarvasya chaha mritisannivishto matya smritir jnanam apohanam cha. So my expansion in the form of man buddhi hankara chetana, I look after the maintenance of the subtle body of the each and every individual living entity by allowing them to have Sruti Jnanam Apohanam, etc. Some basic properties are mentioned. Like that, all other things connected to all other elements, Man Buddhi Hankara Chetana, we can think of. So this is how the Lord looks after the maintenance of the subtle body. Then how does the Lord look after the maintenance of the Atman, soul? Vedesha sarve rahameva vedyo vedantakrit veda videva chaham. It is through Vedas we understand how our Atma can regain its original Swarupa. How does we understand that? Vedesha sarver hameva vedyo. The purpose of studying the Vedas is to understand me. Somebody may question, how can you say that? The other philosophers are saying that studying the Vedas, the purpose of studying the Vedas is something else. Some say Svarga, some say this, some say that, some say this, so many things. We have so many philosophies like Mimamsa, Vaisheshika and Nyaya, Yoga, so many other things are there, all talking about so many other things. How can you say that understanding me, the purpose of the Vedas? Lord Krishna says, Vedanta Krit. I have compiled the Vedas in the form of Vyasadeva. Then the others say that no, the others also compiled other Vedic literatures. Vaisheshika, Mimamsa, Yoga, Sankhya, there are so many other philosophies. They are also writing. Then said, Veda with eva chaham. It is I only who know the essence of the Vedas. Because I only know the essence of the Vedas, I can write actual import of the Vedas. That import of the Vedas is understanding me. The others who are writing is only a perverted reflection of the Vedic literature. They are coming up with distorted philosophies. They are not the absolute philosophies. It is only I know the true essence of the Vedas, though I have written, because of that I have written, the essence of the true essence of the Vedas is to know me. Then Arjuna asks, so my dear Lord, if you only know the essence of the Vedas, thoda detail mein bata do na. So that is E, H-O-M-E. E refers to the essence of the Vedas, which is mentioned in the next three verses, 16, 17, 18. And E also stands for essence of Bhagavad Gita. That is explained in the next 5 verses. Wait. M, maintenance. Maintenance of the gross body, 12, 13, 14. Maintenance of the subtle body, first of the 15. Maintenance of the Atma, second of the 15. All the 3. So, the next 5 verses talks about the essence of entire Bhagavad Gita, which we can see in the form of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. First 3 verses, which are the essence of the Vedic literature, talks about Sambandha. 19th verse talks about Abhideya. 20th verse talks about Prayojana, which is the essence of entire Bhagavad Gita. So, Dvau imau purushau loke sharas shakshara mevacha sharas sarvani bhutani kutasto akshara uchyate. So, in this material world, in this material creation, because from the very beginning, Lord is talking about material creation. He is also talking about Tat Padam. That also is talking. Whether we take only material creation or if we include both material and spiritual creations, also no problem. There are 2 categories of beings are there. Dvau imau purushau loke. There are 2 categories of purushas. Purusha means puratishthati iti purusha. Navadvara pure dehi. That jiva who stays in the body, in a particular body, with the purpose of enjoyment. That person is called Purusha. Purusha means the enjoyer. The jiva takes shelter of this body for the purpose of enjoying through the senses by acquiring the sense objects. So in that way. So there are 2 categories of Purushas, both in this material world and spiritual world. Who are they? Sharas Sarvani Bhutani. All the living entities who are living in this material world, who are subjected to cycle of transmigration, moving from one species to other species, they are called as Kshara, the conditioned living entities. Kutasto Akshara Uchate. Those living entities which do not go through transformation, those living entities who always stay in one particular situation, they are called Akshara. So, Prabhupada translated this Akshara as the liberated living entities. Srila Vishnu Chakravarti translated this Akshara as Aksharam Brahma Paramam, as it is mentioned in the 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. That Parabrahma is known as Akshara, which does not go through any transformations, which does not go through any transformations such as the transformation which Jiva undergoes in the material world, having taken shelter of a body, taking birth, growing, giving byproducts, staying for a while, dwindling and dying. That kind of transformation does not be seen in the Parabrahma. That is Brahman. So Kshara is all the living entities all the way up to Brahma who are living in this material world, who are subjected to transformation. Akshara is referring to Parabrahman or ever liberated souls also, it can be said. Those who are staying in the transcendence, they are not subjected to transformation. So in that way also you can see. But from the point of view of Parimargitavyam, that sadhana taking which one can understand that Tat Padam, from that point of view, this verse talks about how the Kshara living entities can become one with Akshara. It is talking about the process following which one can get the shelter of Tat Padam. That is Akshara, which is known as Parabrahman. That is impersonal Brahman. The process recommended here is Jnana. This verse talks about the sadhana of Jnanis. By talking about their current condition as Akshara, their future situation as part of Akshara. Their current situation and their goal is Akshara. So with that, the sadhana is indirectly indicated. The next verse talks about superior to both Kshara and Akshara is the supreme person known as Paramatma. The destination or the goal of yoga practitioners. Uttama Purushastu Anya Paramatmeti Udarta Yoloka Trayam Avishya Bibharti Avyaya Ishvara. Uttama Purushastu Anya. Two refers to something different than the two which was discussed till now. In comparison to both Kshara and Akshara, there is someone called Uttama Purusha who is superior to both of them. That person is known as Paramatma, who is Mahavishnu. Why Mahavishnu? Here it is mentioned that Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Bibharti Avyaya Ishvara. At the beginning of the creation, when the Brahmandas are created, which are floating on Karana ocean for so many thousands of years lifelessly, that Karanaksha Vishnu, expanded as Garbhodaksha Vishnu, entered into this universe, manifested Garbhodak ocean, manifested universal form, manifested lotus, from which the 14 planetary systems are manifested. And he is maintaining the 14 planetary systems by expanding as Kshirodaksha Vishnu. That person is this Paramatma. Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Bibharti Avyaya Ishvara. He is maintaining the 3 planetary systems, Bhuloka, Borloka, Sargaloka, and upper 4 and below 7. It is Garbhodaksha Vishnu who expanding as Kshirodaksha Vishnu, maintaining the entire universe. So, how to realize him? By taking shelter of the process known as Ashtanga Yoga. This verse talks about the sadhana of yogis, Ashtanga Yoga. Previous verse talks about the sadhana of jnanis. This verse talks about the sadhana of yogis. Now, next verse. Yes, Yatmaksharam Matitoham Aksharat Apichottama Atosmi Loke Vedesha Pratita Purushottama. Yasmaksharam Matitoham, superior to Kshara, the condition living in it is Aksharad, superior to Akshara, superior to ever liberated living in it is, or superior to Parabrahman, Api, even superior to Uttama Purusha, Paramatma. Who is situated? Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the objective of the worship of devotees. So by indicating that Bhagavan is superior to both Kshara, Akshara and also Paramatma, this verse is indicating that Bhakti is superior to both Jnana and Yoga. The result obtained by Bhakti, that is Bhagavan, because Bhagavan is superior to both Brahman and Paramatma. So now, which Bhagavan you are indicating? There are so many forms of Bhagavan. Rama, Dimushu, Tuklain and Yemena Tishtan, Nanavatara, Makarod, Bhuvaneshu Kindu. But among all the avatars, Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the supreme Bhagavan. That is indicated here by Yasmaksharam Atitoham Aksharad Api Cha Uttama. Cha indicates among all the different forms of Bhagavan, I am that Uttama Bhagavan. How? Atosmi Loke Vedecha Pratita Purushottama. All the Vedas, all the Puranas talk about me as the Purushottama. They talk about me as superior to all the different forms of Bhagavan. Who is superior to Paramatma? Who is superior to Brahman? Who is superior to ever liberated living entities? Who is superior to ever liberated conditioned souls? This is the hierarchy. By following karma, one remains as a conditioned soul. By following jnana, one attains Brahman. By following yoga, one attains Paramatma. By following bhakti, one attains Bhagavan. But by following prema bhakti, one attains prema Purushottam Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Okay? This is the gradation of sadhya and sadhana. Here one side sadhya is there, one side sadhana is there. So by talking about sadhya in these verses, Lord Krishna speaking about the sadhana. Tata padam tat parimargitavyam yasmin gatana nivartanti bhuya. Tat padam has different shades. So how to obtain that padam? Tat padam parimarga, following a particular path. Karma, stay here. Jnana, go to Brahman. Yoga, go to Paramatma. Bhakti, go to Bhagavan. Vishnu, different forms. By Prema Bhakti, go to Purushottama. This is Sambandha Jnana. All these verses very nicely established Sambandha Jnana, which is the essence of teachings of Lord Kapila. This is how we can see the vis-a-vis third canto Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, 15th chapter. So now, so what? Knowing this, what to do? Knowing this, engage in my devotional service. When you know this, you obviously engage in my devotional service. To the next verse, that is 19th verse, Lord Krishna says, Yomam evam asammudo janati purushottama. Those people who understand the true essence of the Vedic literature, because Lord Krishna told, Sarvasya chaham mrudisannivisto matta smriti jnanamaponamcha Vedesha sarver ahameva vedyo. I am supposed to be known through the reading of Vedas. What kind of aham supposed to be known? Purushottama. Prema Purushottama Bhagavan Sri Krishna is supposed to be known by studying the Vedas. So, Yomam evam asam mudo, without any doubts, without any misgiving, those who understands me as Purushottama, Janati Purushottamam. Mam Purushottamam, those who know me as the Purushottama, Purushottam Bhagavan, Purna Purushottam Bhagavan, then what they will do? Sa Sarvavit, in all aspects, Manasa, Vacha, Kayana, Manbuddhi, Hankara, Chetana, grass body, subtle body, and everything. Bhajanti Mam, they engage in my devotional service, or they worship me. Sarva Bhavena Bhavat Bharata, with all one's loving sentiments and emotions. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Mattam Sarvam Pravartate. This is Sambandha Jnana. Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, Mattam Sarvam Pravartate. Iti Matva Bhajanti Mam, Buddha Bhava Samnita. One who understands Sambandha Jnana properly, they obviously engage in my devotional service with complete engagement, with complete involvement. Sarva Bhavena. One engages one's body, mind, and soul. So in that way, this verse talks about Abhideya. Having understood Sambandha properly, one engages in Abhideya. So having executed Abhideya, what is the result? That is Prayojana. So what is the result? Iti Guhyatamam Shastram Idamuktva Mayanaga. Oh my dear Arjuna, who are sinless, I have spoken to you Guhyatamam, the very, 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 very secret knowledge of the Vedic literature, which cannot be understood by an individual person by reading oneself. Even Lord Krishna tells this at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, 63. What was the verse? 63. 18th chapter. No, English nahi Baba, Sanskrit bata do. 63 kahan hai? Sorry, 64. Sarva guhyatam bhuya shrunme paramam vacha. Sarva guhyatamam. Guhya, guhyatara, guhyatamam. There is something called secret, something called more secret, something called most secret. Guhya is the process of attaining Brahman. That is Guhya. Process of attaining Brahman is Guhya. Guhya Taram is the process of attaining Bhagavan. Bhagavan. Paramatma, there is no destination such as Paramatma. Either Brahman, Sahyajya Mukti, or Vaikuntha Mukti. That is only realization. The intermediate state. So either somebody obtain Brahman or someone will get to Vaikuntha. Brahman is Guhya. Vaikuntha is Guhyatamam. Sorry, Guhyataram. That is Vaikuntha with awe and reverence. Guhyatamam is Vaikuntha or above, all the way up to Goloka with intimacy. Not with Aishwarya. With intimacy. That is Guhyatamam. Sarva Guhyatamam Bhuya Shrume Param Vacha. Same way, here the bhakti performed in relation to Purushottamam is in the level of intimacy, not Aishwarya. So that's why Lord Krishna says here, Iti Guhyatamam Shastram. This is the secret knowledge of the Shastras, which cannot be understood just like that. Idam Uktam Mayanaga. I have spoken to you today because you are sinless. What is that? Etad Buddha Buddhiman Sat Krita Kristacha Bharata. Those who knows this, they are called as Buddhiman. Those who knows this, they are called as Buddhiman. By becoming Buddhiman, may you get what you are supposed to get. Krita Kritascha Bharata. having executed, having understood what was mentioned in the previous 3 verses, having executed what was mentioned in the previous 1 verse, you will obtain what is supposed to be obtainable. That is not being told here. That is secret because it is Paramaguhyam, it cannot be told. That is Krishna Prema. Krita Kritascha. You will obtain what is obtainable. So this is Prayojan. So Lord Krishna did not tell what it is, but he has indicated it. So Acharya tells what is it. So this is 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Purushottama Yoga. So which is in a way, we can see the vis-a-vis similarities with third canto of Bhagavatam. In third canto, we also have the creation pastimes, which are talking about the creation of the universe, which is like Urdhvamula Shashakam. Third canto also talks about teachings of Lord Kapila, which is establishing a Sambandha, Abhidheya and Prayojana Jnana, which is mentioned in the last 5 verses, so that we can see both of them vis-a-vis. So these two subject matters actually acts as the basis for our philosophy. So if we have good understanding of this, so remaining things becomes easy to understand. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Hare Krishna. Any questions or any correct?